Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofrumento, and you all already know how much I love young entrepreneurial stories. And today's entrepreneur and featured guest is an incredible entrepreneur at that. Even at a young age, she's already a serial entrepreneur with multiple businesses that are doing big things, including a cross-Atlantic move around the world to further her business portfolio and really do some really cool work. So let me introduce you to today's guest. Her name is Rebecca Nolan. Rebecca is a 21-year-old serial entrepreneur who has been building and refining her skills in social media since she was 16 years old. Yes, this younger generation has that advantage of having done this stuff since being children. She is the founder of Ascenda, which is a social media agency dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and online coaches scale their personal brands. And she's also the co-founder of Link, which is the #1 event company in Madrid, Spain, creating exclusive experiences that bring people together. Her entrepreneurial journey started young at just 14 years old when she published her first book, and she has been mentored under Shark Tank winner Sean Knecht, gaining invaluable insight into branding, marketing, and business strategy. Born and raised in Los Angeles, Rebecca took a bold leap at 18 years of age, moving to Madrid to pursue a degree in digital media and communications. With a well-rounded perspective in social media, having worked as an influencer marketer, influencer manager, social media marketer, and content creator herself, she brings a unique approach to building brands. So if you've been struggling to crack the social media code and actually further your business there, you're in for a treat in today's episode. Whether it's growing personal brands, crafting viral content strategies, or positioning clients as industry leaders, Rebecca's expertise continues to drive success for herself and those she works with. I'm super excited to hear more about her story and, of course, to learn from her in today's episode. So I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Rebecca Nolan. All right, Rebecca, I am so very excited that you're here with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Heck yes. I tooted your horn quite a bit as far as all the great things that you're already up to, but I want to hear the backstory, Rebecca. Who's Rebecca? How'd you start doing all these cool things?
Yeah, so I've been very entrepreneurial since I was a kid. I was always having little ice cream stands and selling lemonade. I had my dad help me have an online ice cream business. When I was 12, I was the person selling slime in school. I definitely got more into entrepreneurship when I met my mentor, Sean. It was originally an internship my first year of high school, and he helped me start building my own businesses. Just instead of me helping him, he was just helping me the entire time. He got me internships in real estate underneath him in his second business that he's starting. And then I started working at Starbucks when I was 16, and I absolutely hated it. I hated that it took an hour of my life to buy a burger, basically. I didn't like a 9-to-5 schedule. I didn't like working underneath anybody. And so I quit after 6-7 months, and I started working as an influencer manager. And that I got by luck, basically. I was scrolling on TikTok one day, and I saw someone post about, oh, you should be an influencer manager. And I was like, okay, cool, let me try that. And so I reached out to some girl that I had met, and I was like, hey, do you know anyone that might need help and would need someone to manage them as an influencer manager? And she's like, yeah, I know this one girl. She sent me her contact, and that girl said, yeah, sure, I'll pay you $150 a week to manage me. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, wow, I can make a lot of money from this. So then I started getting more and more and more influencers, and that just took off. And then after a while, I stopped liking that, and I moved into the other side of it, which is influencer marketing, working with brands to help collaborate with influencers on the other side of that. And then eventually 3 years ago, I moved into social media management, and I've just been evolving my skills in that ever since. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into everything.
Yeah, I love that overview, Rebecca, for so many reasons, including the fact that starting as a young entrepreneur, I so resonate with your story. I started my first business when I was a teenager as well, and a lot of it was because I took a job at CVS, and I only lasted 2 days because just like you, I was like, I hate this. What am I doing here? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so leaving that, it felt like a big step, and I remember my parents were not pleased with me because they were just like, you have to get a job. You have to work at this age, but it's so cool how many doors are open to us when we choose our own path. Take us back to young Rebecca, which of course you're still young to this very day, but child Rebecca, where you realized, wait, I don't have to work for somebody else. You mentioned working for an hour just to afford a burger with hourly wages. And so I want to hear about where your head was at, because I feel like as adults, we have a lot of limiting factors. We believe that we need to, or we're supposed to do certain things. It seems to me like you've always slightly rebelled against those customary ways of doing things.
Yeah, I think as a child, for me, money is like freedom. And all I've really wanted is just to completely support myself and just do whatever I want, basically. I've never really wanted to get support from my family. Not that they wouldn't provide that for me, but it was more like I I woke up like hungry to achieve things in my life. I woke up really every single day I like needed to be productive. I don't know if it's like this addiction to wanting to feel successful, and I don't know if that's the most positive thing, but every day if I don't kind of go to sleep feeling accomplished and feeling like I'm working more towards my goals, it just like I don't feel like enough for myself, I guess. And my dad was also very entrepreneurial. He still is. Like he's been a super hard worker, and the three things he's really like implemented in my brain is the value of a dollar, to be honest, hardworking, and to be a loyal person. And so I continue to do that.
Yeah, I love how much that plays into your mindset, not just your entrepreneurial mindset, but I'm sure that that's the entire lens through which you see the world and the way that you show up and all the things that you do. When I think about your start, I remember when I started my first company as a teenager, I was worried that my age was something that people would look at and it would detract from how much they valued my opinion, my perspectives, my insights. When I look at your story though, Rebecca, it almost seems like that is to your advantage because of course you grew up with social media. Older generations, my generation included, we didn't grow up with social media, and so you definitely have an understanding of social media, influencer marketing, the power of building a brand and building engagement on those platforms more so than older people. What's your perspective on that? Because I'm sure you see a lot of things that older, more traditional brands and businesses are doing wrong.
Yeah, I think my perspective on social media is that it's like the key to success. I really think building your personal brand is literally this like unlocks an entire gateway of opportunities, clients, trust with existing clients, and really just boosts your business in a way that it never would without building your own personal brand. And I'll give you an example. One of the biggest clients I work with, his name's Christopher Garson. He owns Data Engineer Academy, and it's like the biggest data engineering school in the United States. All we do is build up his personal brand because, you know, he is the face of the company, and without building your brand as the CEO, you can't build a space for clients to trust you. You know, like I'm building my own personal brand right now, you know, going on podcasts, posting on TikTok, posting on Instagram, because not only does it build up the businesses that I'm currently working on, but it kind of like puts me as that go-to person for social media or whatever you're building your personal brand in. So for example, since I've been building up my socials, I consistently get so many opportunities for work, for more clients, just for anything that I'm interested in, just because I've built up my brand.
Yeah, I want to go deeper into there because I feel like most entrepreneurs miss out on that potential because you're directly talking about a personal brand here, which I love because we talk about branding a lot in the world of business. A lot of people focus on their business brand, but I guess the question that people would have about the personal brand is which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do I build a personal brand after my business brand is flourishing? Or Rebecca, what I'm hearing from you and what I also want to echo because I've experienced this myself is that a strong personal brand makes it seem like everything you touch turns to gold because that transcends the other brands and it lifts them up with it. So how do you answer that and how do you navigate that for business owners of which to build first, or are they built in conjunction with each other?
I think it's quite subjective and depends at where you're at in your business. So for example, if you're a new CEO, a new person to designing and creating your business, I would build your personal brand as you build up your business, right? Like, I think there's something special about helping and showing people your journey and letting them follow along with your journey. You know, like the people that follow me are following along with my journey, are watching me grow. And I think that honestly creates even like a deeper connection. Or like the person I work with now, we're building his brand, his personal brand, as we build his like business, basically. So I think it just depends really on where you're at. I think anyone can build a personal brand, whether it's, you know, beginning of the business or halfway through.
Yeah, when it comes to personal branding, obviously just knowing our worldwide audience as well as I do, Rebecca, I hear all sorts of limiting beliefs. And one of those is a lot of people don't feel confidence in their own message or their own voice. Obviously, we talk about imposter syndrome a lot in the world of entrepreneurship. It's something that I had to get over starting a podcast with over 1,100 episodes. I was like, do people really want to listen to me 7 days a week? Is that something that's out there? It seems to me like not only you, Rebecca, but also your generation just owns your voice, owns your message, owns your own experiences in public far more frequently. I love there's this new wave of building in public, which along the lines of what you just said, a lot of people say, my business isn't perfect. It's not successful yet, but I'm going to build it in public, and that's going to bring even more attention there. What's your comeback? What's your argument for people who are suffering from that imposter syndrome?
I honestly feel like it's just something you have to work through yourself, you know? It's like, it shouldn't matter whether you think someone wants to hear your story or not. It's whether you're consistently providing value. And if that's the case, if you are always providing value for your consumer, eventually someone's going to listen. Even if it starts with one person, you know, it doesn't matter. They'll continue to listen. It's about consistency, especially with social media. You know, like I see people scared to post, or they're like, I don't want to post too much. What if my content doesn't do good? It doesn't matter. It's about building up your brand, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I love that answer because we're definitely going to talk about those things as well. When it comes to your content, you just raised two very important things. One is providing value. So I'm going to ask you, how the heck do we provide value? What's that content look like? And I'm going to squeeze another one in there because I know you can take it, is the frequency. You hit the nail on the head. That's a very common gripe with people, is how frequently should I be posting? So Rebecca, walk us through that content plan of what the heck should we be posting and how frequently?
Okay, I'll give you an example with my client that I work with. So I'll give you two examples. One is like a personal branding framework that I have when I'm onboarding somebody completely new. The first step is research, right? Seeing what is performing well in your niche, seeing what are the top performing hooks, what are the top performing accounts, what kind of content does well. You know, is it entertaining? Is it talking to the camera? Is it vlogs? Is it day in the lives? What content performs well within your niche, and what's overall top performing content, right? So there's sometimes like viral trends that you can then transcend into your own niche or your own business, whatever you're posting about. So after you do the research, after you have top performing hooks written down, then it goes into translating that to your own business, right? So it's who's my target audience and who am I consistently going to provide value for? Once you do that, then I would make a bunch of content ideas, make your content calendar based on just providing information, right? Giving away all your knowledge for free. After that, it's the filming, and then it's just the posting. I would suggest posting every single day. Of course, it's dependent on a platform, so which is why I'll go into the next thing, which is an example of what I do with my client, Christopher. So basically, we're present on every single channel. We're very inspired by Alex Hormozi. I love watching all his videos. I love his content. I think he's the perfect example of what it means to provide consistent value. He's giving away all his business knowledge for free, how to grow content for free. He's giving it all for free for building trust, basically. And something he says that I really like is to sell in private and give value only in public, right? And anyway, so with Christopher, what we do is we're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook and LinkedIn, every single platform. His target avatar is people wanting to transition into data engineering, right? He doesn't want to target the beginning, basic level person that has no experience, the person getting out of college. He wants to target someone that is a data professional, is in tech, knows IT, you know? And so we tailor our content to that. How can we provide consistent value to that target avatar? And I really believe posting quantity and quality at the same time is the key to success, right? Because you might post 10 videos in a week, but not all 10 videos are going to go to the same people, right? You might be missing out on so many views, so many new customers by not leveraging your socials and by not posting enough.
Yeah, important points there, Rebecca. I love the fact that you use Alex Hormozi as the example there, because I feel like he does set that standard for all of us to aspire to. However, at the same time, just knowing entrepreneurs as well as I do, and I know that a lot of them look at his content and they go, how the heck am I supposed to do that? They're produced so well. The special effects are so cool. He's got things flying onto the screen. What's your take on production value these days? Because I love how much you emphasize both quality and quantity. Quantity is equally an important part of that conversation, but when it comes to that quality, we see all different types of production. We just see straight up selfie videos or unfiltered, unedited, and they just upload it. What is that standard that we should be aspiring for?
I don't think it's hard to produce good quality videos. Download CapCut, it's free, add some captions, use your iPhone. Like, we use his iPhone to film YouTube videos. It's not difficult. Like, I think it's just about what you're actually saying in the video,
Yeah, for sure. Rebecca, one thing I want to come back to is you said something earlier that I think we need to echo so much more in the entrepreneurial world. And you said, if we're providing value to even one person, keep doing it. You never know who's going to find that. Talk to us about audience size, because I feel like that is one of the things that is most discouraging for people when they start posting on social media. How do you help people blast through those initial phases when it feels like nobody's on the other side of these posts?
Like when they make a brand new account and have no followers.
Yeah, that, and when they aren't getting the engagement because they haven't tapped into the algorithm. I'd love to hear your thoughts on navigating that.
Yeah, I think when you're first starting, I would view it as an exciting opportunity to be able to test, see what works. Content creation is a very iterative process, right? So what I like to do, I post 30, 40 videos in a month, maybe 50, and I see what works and I see what doesn't work, because the algorithm perfectly tells you what your audience likes to watch and what they don't like to watch. And after I see that, I just post more of what works. So if you're just starting out, I would view it as just like this amazing opportunity to be able to try all sorts of content, be able to experiment, be able to maybe even see, maybe my content is better for a different kind of audience. It helps you in the business. It helps you even learn your own niche better.
Yeah, so well said. That's the thing. When you're in the thick of it, that's when you are learning things, hearing things, and you can better cater. Even beyond the social media that we're talking about today, those learnings and insights will leak into making your offer better, making your marketing and your sales process better. So it's really cool to hear those insights, Rebecca. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about you and your businesses, because a lot of people will be hearing this and thinking, Rebecca, I don't have that much time to be creating social media content. Well, Rebecca, you're such a great example because you're running multiple businesses of your own. What's your week look like with regards to balancing? You've got Ascenda, your social media agency. You've got Link, your events company. Talk to us about how you balance that workload every week.
Well, I'm definitely exhausted. I'm also full-time in college, so it's a lot to balance at the same time. I have 3 hours of classes a day. I live an hour from my school. And so I'm getting up early, and I love working out. I need to get my exercise. I need to eat well. So I'm constantly really busy, but I love that because I love that like everything I'm doing has some sort of value either to myself or to other people. And so basically a week in my life is I have classes usually in the morning between like 9 and 12 o'clock. And I like to get my work done for my social media agency before in the morning, right? And I film content for my own pages throughout the day, which is really nice. I get to incorporate my day-to-day just in the content I'm posting. And that's also advice to entrepreneurs. It's like, you don't have to set aside 20 hours this month to film content. Just film what you're already doing, Or if you have an idea, film it for 30 seconds and just post it. It doesn't need to be so hard. I just view it as an excuse when people are like, oh, I don't have time to film. But anyways, so my co-founder and I for Link, we are always on the phone, always texting, always having new ideas. We have 2 to 3 events per month. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot of work planning the events. And for some backstory, Link Events is a company that helps girls make new friends in new cities. And we started this because when I first moved to Madrid 3 years ago, I had such a hard time making friends and building a community because I'm an American and everyone kind of groups up in their nationalities. So there's not too many Americans here. And so we started this business to help other girls build that community and honestly thrive in a new city that they moved to. And we're trying to expand everywhere. So that's a lot of work because we're in the initial stages. We just launched in January. We're onboarding interns now, which is extremely exciting. And for my social media agency, what I love is I can do it from anywhere. I can do it in class. I can do it on my phone. I can do it on vacation, on the beach. So it's a very flexible role that allows me to move wherever I want around, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Rebecca, all right, balancing two businesses, full-time student, you've got a lot, also working out, also eating healthy, eating all the delicious paella throughout Madrid. And so with that in mind, I would imagine that you're super organized and you've got some tools and systems set up to support you. You've already called out any entrepreneur who wants to create videos, download CapCut. That's one such tool that can make our lives a lot easier. What are some of those other business or entrepreneurial or organizational tools that you love utilizing in your life and in your businesses?
Yeah, so if you have a team, I would recommend Trello or Notion. It keeps everyone organized. We like to plan content calendar, content systems on Trello. So for example, YouTube, I do front to end, basically service for YouTube, right? We'll make the scripts, edit the videos, get the thumbnails together, post the content, find top performing kind of thumbnail text. We'll do research on that. It's a very, systemized process that we do, and we use Trello for scheduling and uploading posts. If you don't have time to do it yourself, I would use Simplified. I love that platform. You can schedule one piece of content on 5 platforms in one click, but I honestly recommend just posting content manually. I think it performs better in the algorithm. Every time I use the scheduling system, it just tanks my views. What else? Those are the 2 tools that I love the most, and Canva. It's a very versatile, but yeah.
Yeah, Rebecca, I'm 100% with you in Notion. That has quickly become one of my favorite tools for organization, especially for our podcast as a 7-day-a-week show. We have so many episodes coming up, and it's the only way that across our entire team we can stay organized. So love hearing those insights. And of course, Trello, such a powerful tool. Listeners, a lot of these are free or have free options. So listen to Rebecca's advice here. Look into them, because if your business is unorganized, then how the heck are you making sense of all these other things? Especially, Rebecca, thinking about the events that you host, I think about how much work goes into each and every event, and the fact that you're hosting multiple of those every single month. Talk to us about the planning and the time horizon that you look at, because I feel like most entrepreneurs just kind of scrap things together, but you have to have those promoted. You have to have them lined up and planned, and people obviously signed up to come. So what does that event timeline look like when you're planning those?
So it usually starts with us finding a venue and going back and forth on negotiation, how much they're going to charge us for the space, if we're having drinks included per person, how much that's going to charge. Once we lock in the venue, we map it out in our calendar, and now we're trying to map out 2-3 months in advance. We're getting our website updated so we can have all the events on there. We're working on expansion to Barcelona and to other cities, which is super exciting. It's a very, we're taking it day by day right now, but definitely having the venues planned out in advance. What's lovely also is that I have a nice social media presence here in Madrid, so I'm able to do all the marketing online. So is my co-founder, and we don't really have, everything's organic. And especially since I work in social media, I really know how to make sure the content reaches the girls that it needs to reach. But yeah, that's our little process.
Rebecca, this next question is fun for me to ask you, because I know that not only are you an entrepreneur, but as a student, it's going to be so interesting to hear how AI plays into your life and your businesses these days. Everyone's using it in different ways. I'd love to hear some insights on how you're using it.
I love AI. I think it is the best thing that's ever happened for me, at least. I know there's some people that are like, oh, don't use AI, or AI is going to take your job. It's only going to take your job if you don't know how to leverage it and use it. AI is such a powerful tool, and the people that are afraid of it, or the people that don't use it, are missing out on so much opportunity, so much time saved, so many things that they could leverage and automate in their own businesses. I'm very passionate about this because I absolutely love, especially Chat GPT. Amazing. I use it so much in my own work, and it's not doing the work for me, but just helping me work so much faster. The amount so the amount of like clients and things that I can do so much more and way, way, way faster than I would be able to on my own is just insane. Like, I love it.
Yeah, for sure. What's your perspective? Because I feel like social media is one of those areas that people do recommend creating a content calendar, coming up with content ideas. Obviously, there's strengths and weaknesses to that. I know that someone like you, Rebecca, you have your eyes on what's working, what's not working. You're always looking at analytics. You're looking at trends. So how good is AI when it comes to assessing the social media landscape and helping to at least put together those plans and identify the content that we should be focusing on?
I think that you can put your research into AI and help it turn it into insights. Put the data that you learn. For example, if you're doing step 1 of building your personal brand and you are looking at top performing content, right, from other creators, and you write down all their hooks, then you can have AI use that and reshape it to your niche. There's so many different steps in the process that it can just help you out with. There's AIs that make short videos for you, that can edit for you, that can clip up your YouTube videos. There's AIs that can help you design all your Canva posts for you. There's some that can literally, you can film a video and it can replicate you basically if you don't even have time to film. Like, there's so many different AIs to use that can help leverage your business. I guess automate the business.
For sure. Rebecca, I feel like you're going to send a lot of people on a goose hunt there because they're going to be super excited about all those use cases that you just so effortlessly listed for us. So I love hearing about that. As we come towards the end, I want to squeeze a few more questions in because I'm so fascinated by the fact that you're already teasing to us some of those expansion plans, expanding into Barcelona. And obviously you have a lot on your plate, but you're strategic about this step-by-step to get there. What's the future of Ascenda and Link look like when you sit down and strategic plan that out?
The future of Link for me is being all over the world, helping girls all over the world make new friends, build a community wherever they are. The future for Ascenda is also helping CEOs everywhere build their personal brand because I don't think they understand how important it is. There are 8.2 billion people in the world, and out of that number, I believe there's 2 billion on Facebook, 1.7 on Instagram. It's huge. It's insane how many people in this world are on social media. If you're not leveraging it, you're missing out on millions of customers, millions of opportunities. And I really want to help people build their personal brands.
Yeah, I love that. Especially, it's fun to talk to the entrepreneur inside of you, not just the subject matter expert of all the things that we've talked about here today. You already mentioned your dad as one of your biggest influences with the way that you think entrepreneurially. Share some insights with us. What are some of those influences on your life and the way that you think? Because I love how much Alex Hormozy inspires you. I love that you shared 3 of those things that you learned from your dad. What are some of those other influences that makes you so resilient and gives you that confidence to keep pushing on despite inevitably all of us entrepreneurs face those ups and those downs?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been very motivated since I was a child. Like, I've just been this way. I've definitely faced a lot of difficulties, like growing up within my family, which has made me very, very resilient and such a hard worker. Like, my mom passed away when I was 10, and that was a very difficult experience. And I think, I mean, of course, that's definitely affected me, influenced my ability to communicate, my ability to process different emotions, and just like how I view the world. So I definitely think the hardships I had growing up have shaped me as a person. And I don't really have like someone that I super look up to that like guides me day to day and inspires me all the time. But I definitely feel most influenced like by my dad. Honestly, my boss, Chris, I love working with him. He really like inspires me a lot and helps me. And Alex Hormozy I like too.
Yeah, well, Rebecca, that is because you are also building the super entrepreneur of yourself. And I love the fact that you're so committed to your journey and helping others along their journeys as well. So with that in mind, the question that I like to ask at the end of every episode is, what's your best piece of advice for listeners? Remembering that we're being listened to by both wantrepreneurs and entrepreneurs at all different stages of their own growth journeys. And I feel like they already are going to be forced to have a lot of ideas about building their personal brand and giving more value into the world through content and through social media. You've given us a lot of advice, but with your entrepreneurial hat on, what's that best piece of advice that you want to leave our listeners with today?
That's a good question. I would say best piece of advice would to be to not lose sight of the value that you were supposed to provide to your customers in the first place. You know, like, don't get blinded by money, but continue to give consistent value. And when you do that, the money will come with it.
Yes, I love that. Money is a natural byproduct of value. It's such an important lesson for all of us to learn because we're always chasing that dollar, but those dollars start coming when we stop chasing them and we start just giving value. And that's so much of our conversation here today, Rebecca. I'm so grateful for the way that you show up. I always ask guests to drop those links for listeners who want to see more about their businesses. And from you, I'm super excited for you to also drop your social media handles because I want listeners to see you in action and see all this great content. So Rebecca, for listeners who want to go deeper down the wonderful world of all the things that you're doing, drop those links on us. Where should listeners go from here?
Okay, if you want to grow your personal brand, go to ascenda.com. It's ASENNDA.com. My socials are Rebecca and Nolan on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn. And I also give really good advice on LinkedIn if you want to grow your brands. If you are ever in Madrid and you're a female who wants to come to our event, it's linkevents.com, LYNC events. And I'm actually starting my own podcast too, and I'm calling it The Young Entrepreneur, and it's going to be out first episode next week. So
Yes, I love that, Rebecca. Welcome to the podcasting family. Listeners, you already know the drill. We're making it as easy as possible for you to find all of those links down below in the show notes, no matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode. So you don't have to remember any of these links. Just scroll down, click right on through, follow Rebecca on all the platforms. You're going to get so much value from her, not just today, but long into the future, as well as on her own new podcast, which I'm super excited about. So Rebecca, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.